voices? Or...
I believe that's our producer. He has joined. We are now a trio.
Good morning, Todd.
Good morning, ladies.
Oh, all of a sudden we get that deep voice.
Yeah, when he told us that one day he was going to surprise us, he talked about doing it in a deep voice, but then he does this. Oh, cracking me up. Oh, my gosh, so funny.
What a way to start the day. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. I needed it. I needed that, Todd. Thank you so much.
But yeah, I forgot to tell you, Todd. I forgot to tell you, Todd, we're going to extend the program, so you have to do it every day.
Uh-oh, I think we just lost him.
And no, I didn't extend the program. But...
No, don't be messing with our listeners like that. Oh, my goodness. We missed you yesterday, Melody. We missed you.
Missed everyone also. And, but we're here today.
We are here today. We are here. All three of us are here today. Oh, my goodness. All right. We got to get something. It just took me by surprise. Okay, everybody. Well, he warned us that he was going to do it eventually, but we didn't expect it this morning, which makes it all the much better. All right, okay. The big news, of course, in the news is the three hostages that came home early this morning. And we're all rejoicing with those families and still praying for the family whose son did not come back in such good shape, and we lost him. And I was brought back to, and I think I made a copy of it here. Do you remember Jeremiah Denton, the prisoner of war in Vietnam, that when they were making him do a video to denounce his country, I know I've got that somewhere here. Here it is. He blinked in Morse code, torture. And he was actually brought back home, he and his men, during the Reagan administration. And in his speech, what he said was, now he was military, and these guys were not military. One was a pastor, the others were professors. But Jeremiah Denton was military, and he said, we are honored to have had the opportunity to serve our country under difficult circumstances. We are proudly grateful to our commander-in-chief and to our nation for this day. God bless America. And I believe that he kissed the ground. And I remember that mainly, Melody, because it's in a song that I have sung in the past many times. It's called An Honor to Serve. Usually we think about it around 4th of July and Military Veterans Day and all those good things, and remember our vets that have sacrificed so much. Whether you agree with what our government does or not, our military does a fantastic job of
they do.
You know, what they do. These men also were very grateful, and I thought I had one of their little things their comments that they had made, but I guess I don't have it. But this happened in the wee hours of the morning, and I had kind of a rough day yesterday. I did not stay up that late, but President Donald Trump and Melania both met them and escorted them off the plane. And it was very emotional, I guess, and moving. They had the cranes in there and had the great big huge flag, U.S. flag up, and they were very grateful to be home. It was a great accomplishment. It says, we would like to express our deep appreciation to the United States government, President Donald Trump, Secretary Pompeo, and the people of the United States for bringing us home. And that was in the statement. We thank God for all our families and friends who prayed for us and for our return. God bless America, the greatest nation in the world. And that was their comment. It was Kim Dong-chul and Kim Hak-song and Kim Dang-duk. I don't know how to pronounce these names, also called Tony Kim. They were released into the Secretary of State Pompeo's custody, and that was done pretty quickly. And so we're hoping that this is a good thing. Some of the media is making it out not to be that big a deal, but I'll tell you what, it's a big deal to those families and those men that are home. And it's a big deal to the United States to get us home, to get somebody home. Everyone was so everyone was so upset when they brought the other young man home, Wampler, was his name, Otto. When they brought him home, and of course he didn't make it. He was in a state of he was in a coma, I believe. Anyway, he did not survive from whatever it was that caused his. I don't think they've ever really said what caused his coma and his injuries, but we know that they are treated pretty rough. I had an article here from not WorldNet Daily. It was from Daily Signal, saying North Korea prisoners released, 3 down and 119,997 to go. And I had to read that because I thought, do they mean that the United States has that many prisoners around the world? But this was talking about all the prisoners that they have there in North Korea in those concentration camps that are not unlike the Nazi Germany war camps, and they're pretty bad. So they're hoping that this particular administration will do more to help those people as well. And I don't know how many prisoners we have in other places around the world, but that would be interesting to find out as well. So anyway, it meant a lot to the president, and you could tell. And they get out at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, where they were, I guess, and meet this plane and bring these men home. And I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly.
There you are.
Certainly for the families, a lot of fanfare. I guess that the fanfare was probably needed in order to continue with the openness with the communications with North Korea. Because that is a pretty big deal, and so we'll have to see how this. We'll look at this, the fanfare, as a positive. It's fantastic. And, for all the other prisoners around the world, I hope they get the same opportunities from the various countries in bringing their citizens home. So,
and the morals for the people, the morale for the people here in the United States, I think it does a lot to see that we've got some people coming home. These guys have been held captive over there for, I think, 3 years. Or was it more than that? I think it was 3 years.
No, one was captured in 2017. One was in 2015, I believe, which would be 3 years.
Not all of them were 3 years. One of them was 3, or two of them were 3 and was 2. Anyway, they haven't been there. I think that's a long time, but when you talk about like how long Jeremiah Denton had been in captivity, it's not as long. But it does good for the United States to see something positive like that. I mean, we're all up and down about some of the other things.
We certainly need it.
Yeah, I know. I see some positives. I mean, I know that we don't believe everything we see, but I see some positives happening. Will it continue, and will they be positive down the road? It may be a positive today, but what are the unintended consequences? What's going to happen later? And so, with whether it's the economy or our status in the Middle East or whatever the case may be, as to what's going on and the things that are happening here in this nation that are just so absurd. It's you wonder why the Lord puts up with us. You really do wonder why He puts up with us. That unconditional love. I guess He's just given us another chance.
I mean, you are right about one thing. There is good news. The good news is we're not falling apart yet. That's the good news.
We've got another day before the collapse.
Don't worry yet. The economy is still there for whatever reasons. So there is
something's
good news.
Holding it together. Yeah, something's holding it together, even if it's just the deep breath we all take, sucking it together, holding it sucked on there. But anyway, And with all the things that have happened in the last several weeks, and I'm talking about a lot of the negative things that have happened with, the dossier and the memos and the leaks and the this and the that and, the Russian collusion, and they're still on that, and the stormy weather. Anyway, CNN, this is a CNN poll, and the Dems have dropped in the polls as far as the elections coming up. Now, of course, they had the primary and they had the primary going on, not yesterday, day before yesterday, and they did pretty well. And I don't know about just the Democrats. I think the Republicans ought to be raising their eyebrows and paying attention, because some outsiders were winning from the establishment Republicans, and of course they're hoping that these guys will be able to stand the test against the Democrats. But the Democrats were at a 16-point advantage, and they have dropped. And it's kind of, and it dropped really rapidly. This is a CNN poll, so they're not fixing it. So it's interesting to watch this, and I think it's, and you can either agree or disagree with me, which is what we usually do. We either agree or disagree. But I think the American people are sick and tired. We've made that, we've just about had that breaking point, like a mother. I'm sick and tired of this. You're going to have to do. And I think the American people are sick and tired of what mainstream media is doing. They're sick and tired of hearing about Russia. They're sick and tired of hearing about Stormy. They're sick and tired. And, of course, now they have the Stormy's attorney, who seems to just love the limelight. He's such a pompous guy. I mean, he's just really arrogant. But he's got a hold of some papers, and he was saying all this about Cohen, and of course then he had papers that were some other Cohen, not this Cohen. Then they're wondering, where did he get these papers? Congress can't seem to get their papers from the DOJ, but all of a sudden he's this attorney for Stormy has been leaked some information. So I think the American people, bottom line, is they're sick of it. They've had about enough of it, and I think that's why President Donald Trump and Melania are going way up, not way up, I guess. She's way up in the polls. He's just rising in the polls, and that's why the Democrats have dropped as far as the elections coming up in the fall. So anyway, that's just my opinion. I think the American people, I have faith in the American people if they're given the truth. They have a better way of making a good decision if they at least have the truth in front of them, and we don't seem to have much of that anymore. It's hard to sort through it, whether you're listening to the so-called conservative media or the mainstream media that we know is biased. We know both of them are biased, so it's hard to sift out and find the truth. There's truth amongst it somewhere in there, but I think the American people are sick and tired, and I think people are sick and tired of the past administration butting into the current administration and trying to, if they want to make him look bad, let him fail. Let him make his bad decisions that they think are so bad. Why are they going before him and trying to undermine the decisions that President Donald Trump and his administration are doing? And I'm speaking of John Kerry and President Barack Obama and some of the others that just can't keep quiet. He's, it's bad form, as they used to say, bad form when they won't get out of the way and let the new administration at least try to do it their way. So anyway, that's my opinion. You're stuck with it. I have faith in the American people, and I think they'll come through. If you get the truth, if they have the truth in front of them. And we are going into the break. That's the truth. We're headed into a break. Your calls are welcome at 717-300-1218. We're so glad Melody is back today, 717-300-1218. And Melody and Beth Ann, this morning, we're going to be right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Gold and silver is tremendously undervalued. Global demand vastly exceeds mine supply by more than 60% annually. There is little in the financial world more certain than a coming explosion in the prices of gold and silver. The U.S. dollar continues to lose value and respect as the world's reserve currency. Our nation faces challenges on many fronts, and a day doesn't pass without another economist bringing forth warnings of impending economic calamity. There has never been a better time than right now to acquire physical gold and silver. Discount Gold and Silver Trading was founded on the principles of truth and honesty. We believe in providing a quality product, quality service, and most importantly, competitive pricing. We provide all forms of precious metals, including American gold, silver, platinum, and rare investment and circulated coins. Silver bars, rounds, and 90% silver bags are on hand for the silver investor. Gold self-directed IRAs are available. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, that's 1-800-375-4188.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn. The Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the Scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a reestablished Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
And we have returned. You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the good morning. And we are going to go to the phones, and maybe he'll sing for us. We have Oscar from North Carolina. Oscar, how are you today?
Very well, ladies. Thank you very much for taking my call. I'd like to begin my remarks by thank you, Beth, for your kind words and your smart, very wise words about the American people are getting fed up with everything, and we don't have much truth of anything going around. And second of all, I'd like to very much thank the remarks of Joe yesterday. I'd like to say about that, the 2 words were never spoken. And I would like to talk about that. You know, in here in America now, especially in the churches, the people go to church, they don't know the Bible. They just follow the words of the preachers. And the preachers are dishing out all kinds of stuff, very, very biased. You know, I mean, it seems to me that the cross is being replaced by the Star of David in the churches. And, you know, we backing up Israel with everything that they can, sending money. I mean, you know, saying things like, for instance, that they're chosen ones and this and that. And how can they be the chosen one when they hate Christ? I don't believe that is true. And, you know, it's incredible.
that was also prophesied that they would reject him. So that part is...
Yeah, it was prophesied, and the prophecy is still on. You know,
yes.
These people want to argue about that comment. You know, just go to the scriptures, go to Revelation 2:9 and Revelation 3:9, and it says they say the Jews, but they're not, but of the synagogue of Satan. I mean, you know, it's time for the people to understand these things and to believe the truth, because it's been proven without a doubt, you know, that these people do not come from the bloodline of Abraham by the most symmetric biology technology that we have today, which is DNA, Dr. L. Hike from the Johns Hopkins Medical University in Boston, another one, University of Minnesota, Huddleston and Sheffield in Great Britain, University of Oxford, England, Harvard University of Boston, Hebrew University of Israel, University of Arizona. These people are Khazarian Jews. They're not the bloodline of Abraham. And this thing that is going on over there with Iran now, this is the most double standard thing, because Netanyahu's big mouth comments is they're not going to let these people have nukes. How about Israel? They have between 300 and 400 nuclear warheads. Who's going to speak about that? That is a tremendous double standard. And,
well, we have
everything.
Them too. The U.S. has them too. The United States has them too. So.
Well, we have them too, but exactly. So we shouldn't be talking about other people trying to acquire the same technology. People have the right to defend themselves. How about the Russians, the Indians, the Pakistanians? Everybody's got nuclear technology. So, Israel is just, they're just talking about that as a subterfuge reason to go over there and acquire their land, because they think that all of the land over there belongs to them. It was given to them by God. And that's wrong, and that it's terrible, That land doesn't belong to them, first of all, because they're not really Hebrews. They're Caesars. They're not really the real thing. So, thank you very much for letting me talk. I didn't mean to be facetious or anything like that. But you talk about the truth, and our Lord Jesus Christ said, the truth shall set you free.
That's right.
I appreciate you letting me talk, and I bid you good day, and God bless, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Oscar. We always appreciate your conversations. Go ahead.
Oscar, you ought to tune into the Financial Survival Program tonight. Last night, I had 2 segments with James Corbett, and we touched on what's happening with, the Iran and Israel and so forth. And he did touch on the amount of nuclear power that Israel does have. So make sure you tune in at 4 o'clock, or you can just go to the website after the 5 o'clock Eastern time, and you can find it in the archives if you can't find it on the shortwave on WWCR at 4 p.m. Eastern time. But he has a lot of good comments, and he really, brought things into perspective as far as what is going on, what is going to happen, and basically we're being. The example was, perhaps we're being led by Israel down this road that we shouldn't be taking. And so it was an interesting interview, so make sure you tune in this afternoon with James Corbett. James Corbett lives in Japan, so he has a good perspective on everything, and it was interesting. And so make sure you tune in, and that's Financial Survival at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. He actually comes on about 20 minutes after the hour. So,
I don't know a whole lot about all the things that have taken place and that are going on and all this. It's one of those things I'm kind of watching, and I know that there's never going to be peace over there. There's never going to be peace over in the Middle East. But we know that the Iran deal was a bad deal, and we know that there was a payoff of some kind. We sent all this cash over there, and so, the same people that were saying it was a bad deal are the same people that are upset with what we've done now. And it's just, I don't know what's right or wrong. I just know that things are not good, and we're just going to have to. He
does talk about that. He talks about what, everybody says it's a bad deal, and he says, well, what was bad about it? no one talks about what was bad about it. Maybe really it wasn't as bad as all those who claim it was bad.
And
really bad.
When we were looking at when we were looking at what Pat Buchanan was saying about it, he kind of was breaking it all down, and that was I thought that was a great article about kind of helped me put it into perspective. They're not going to get the money back. We're not going to get the money back that whatever they were paying them off. I had read something, and I probably shouldn't even say this out loud because I have no proof, but I had read something that it was a payoff and a cover-up for the Uranium One deal. So, and I don't know about that, but that would explain why Congress washed their hands of it and just let it. Huh?
That'd be a lot of money.
It was a lot of money.
But even, it was a lot of money. But but if I remember correctly, Buchanan was actually saying that we shouldn't pull from the deal.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's
and
what
because
I'm saying.
It's so yeah.
It was a whole different perspective, and it was really. I mean, I'm one of those that's open. I need to hear both sides. I need to listen to what's going on and try to decipher it. Regardless of what we think of the nation of Israel over there, they are a nation right now, and should we be backing them up at every turn? I don't think so. But anyway, it's a lot of things that are to be tried to understand it all. We have Neil in Missouri on the line. Neil, how are you today?
Oh, doing all right.
Good morning.
Just trying to stay dry. We had a little rain this morning.
Oh, we didn't get any here.
Oh, we got some down here, and we're expecting we could still get some more this morning yet down here in southwest Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get back to this thing on these prisoners they just released from North Korea. I mean, I'm glad they got released, and I'm happy for them, but I got no sympathy for them. I don't. What are the idiots doing over there messing around in a country like that to start with? That's my question. People that go to Cuba and North Korea and even Russia. I mean, why do you need to be over there messing around? We have plenty of problems in this country that need to be taken care of. They what?
One was a pastor. He was over there as a pastor, missionary.
I think he had a. I don't think. I heard a different report. I heard he was a pastor, but he also worked.
Oh, okay. Well, you can't go any place without being work now. You can't just go as a missionary pastor. You have to have, it has to be a work thing. So, yes, that's more than likely true.
Yeah, but it's irrelevant. They don't need to be over there messing around in those countries. Even Christ told his disciples to stay out of Asia. So, and we got plenty of problems in this country that need to be taken care of. You're talking about prisoners. I know in Missouri.
We need I was just thinking. That's what we need.
Yeah, we need missionaries in the United States. Forget about these foreign countries. Let's get this country straightened out. Let's take care of our own problems. One of the problems we have in Missouri is they just hold people in jail until they plead guilty. That's one of the biggest problems we've got in jail. I've been dealing with Missouri prisoners for the last 30 years, and I've seen it so many times where they'll just hold people in jail until they finally just give up and cave in and plead guilty to something they didn't do. Because their lives have been or are being destroyed by the fact that they're being held in jail without any, and most of the time without any or very little outside contact. They're extremely limited on the amount of visitation they get, and the diet's so poor that I'm surprised anybody can last as many years as some of these guys have done in the jails, waiting to go to trial. So it's against the law. Missouri, you've got a 9-month statute of limitations. You got to get somebody to trial within 9 months. And they're holding people for years until they plead guilty just because they know they don't have a case and they can't take them to trial. But they'll do that and they get away with it. They put a bond on them, which is a violation of the Constitution. They set bail so high they can't make bail. It says in the Constitution you're allowed reasonable bail.
Yeah, that's the 8th Amendment too, isn't it? A Bill of Rights.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to, and they just, they've just gotten to the point pretty much in this country where they ignore the Bill of Rights, they ignore the Constitution, they even ignore U.S. Supreme Court decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So, why waste your time messing around with these foreign countries? Plenty of problems right here they need to take care of. So, it's just a grim situation we're getting into in this country with what's happened in the so-called justice system. In fact, I was just talking about it with an attorney yesterday about what's happened, how they've been promoting these corrupt. They'll get a corrupt prosecutor, they'll get him into a judgeship, and then they just promote him on up the line. And that's why the court system has gone downhill so far, so fast, is because over the last 40 years, They just keep promoting these corrupt judges higher and higher up the line, and that's why you get in the appeals court, and you can't get anywhere with them. They just ignore, like I say, they ignore the Constitution. They ignore their own statutes. You know, they're enforcing laws, and I know in the state of Missouri they're enforcing laws that don't even exist. They'll charge you with people with stuff, and I'll go look it up. There is no such statute. They're just making stuff up. But they rely on the people being dumber than they are, so that's how they get away with it.
Well, that's why we say educate and activate. You know, people.
Absolutely.
Truth, they would. Yeah, I believe if the people have the truth in front of them, they'll make a better decision. They may not always make the right decision, but they have a better opportunity, a better chance of making a better decision.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, anytime anybody that's ever charged with anything, if you know anybody gets charged with something, first thing you do, go look up the statute they're charging under. Second thing you do, look up the code of state regulation that goes with it. Half the time, there's no CSR. If there's no code of state regulation, then they don't have an enforceable law because the executive branch can't enforce a statute until they codify it. And if it's not codified, it's not enforceable. So, and if they're trying speed limits, they're writing people around here tickets all the time for speed limits on roads for 35, 40 miles an hour. Well, for 40 miles an hour in a 35, supposedly 35 zone, it's actually 65 by state law because it's not posted. If they don't post the road, the state law in Missouri is it's 65 daytime, 60 at night. So, but they get away with it because people don't go bother to look it up.
Interesting. Well, I know we're a mess, and I know it's not just Missouri. I know that goes across the
across the United
into
States.
The other states. I mean, it's from sea to shining sea, unfortunately. And the people have sat back, and I'm talking about self as well. I mean, we've sat back and we've kind of allowed this stuff to happen, and now we're trying to dig our way back out of that hole.
Oh yeah. So all these people who want to do missionary work, get busy in this country. Forget these foreign countries.
I can't tell them what their calling from God is. He may have called them there. I don't know, but I can't trump that. I mean, that's between them and God. But yeah, we are glad that they're home and that they're safe now. It's that part of it is a good thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's too bad about all the rest of them that are stuck over there in these foreign countries. But you get involved in that kind of stuff. That's what it's bad enough in this country. Why do you want to go to a place that's even worse?
Yeah. You take a risk when you travel like that and or decide to be a missionary or work missionary. They call them now. They can't just be missionaries, and they're not allowed into these countries, and not just North Korea, other countries as well. So China, and some of the others. I mean, you have to have a legitimate work to be there. So, all right, Neil, appreciate it. Thank you so very much for your input. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
No, I was going to change the topic, so go ahead and make your comment.
No, I mean, we do look at all these countries. We're focused on Israel. I mean, these are the most prominent, but really the long term, and I can't even imagine what long term is anymore. Long term. I mean, they're certainly keeping the market strong. They're keeping the dollar stronger than what it should be. Very little movement out of gold, and we talked a little bit about some of these sanctions that is going to be placed on Iran from the Treasury, and one of them is to prevent them from purchasing precious metals, which I just think is they were also going to put efforts on aluminum, I believe, which is something that we're placing tariffs on, for the rest of the world. So it's kind of interesting to see what some of these tariffs are going to be, even if we get that far. I mean, they do have 180 days. Or 160 days, I can't recall off the, I'm going from memory. But so it is going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. And, I think in some way everyone is holding their breath.
That's what I said. That's what's holding it together.
We're holding our breath because we know. But China is still also a long-term player, and the impact economically.
And
they're
according to a lot of
powerhouse.
They're the ones that are the real threat. And, of course, we keep screaming about Russia. We keep screaming about Iran. We keep screaming about North Korea. And it's really China that is the big threat. And you don't hear the media saying that a whole lot. They do on some of the conservative ones, but you don't hear that anywhere else. And it's, again, we have to sit back and kind of watch and pray for the leaders, even the ones you don't like. Pray for them. So you never know what the Lord can do.
What's next?
Oh, I had a couple of things here. Let me see. How far do we want to go on this? Did you happen to see, and I've just barely read this article, but did you happen to see the, well, I don't even know what they called it. They had this Hollywood, they were dressed up, well, I can't think what they were doing, but I guess they do this every year, where they were dressed up, and they were dressed up in religious garb, like the Catholic Church, and
terrible.
So I have an article about how changing the rules on cultural appropriation, because here we've been told, a white woman can't wear her hair in the dreads, and you shouldn't go eat at a Mexican restaurant. Wearing a sombrero at Halloween is a no-no. No fake mustaches, all these things, yoga, you don't understand the culture, so you shouldn't be participating in yoga, and it goes on and on and on. But they approved this, because it was Hollywood, I guess. So that's okay. It says the impossibly fickle, selective, and whimsical rules of cultural appropriation are hard to keep straight. It said, oops, I said straight. Apologies for whomever. Oops, I can't say whomever. Anyway, he's going on being silly in this article. He says, according to the white people who run the left-wing Southern Poverty Law Center, eating tacos, drinking tequilas, and wearing sombreros at Cinco de Mayo are textbook examples of cultural appropriation. Euro-privileged people of Gonzaga University similarly warned non-Mexican individuals on campus not to wear costumes insensitive to the Latinx culture. No-nos, including serapes and fake mustaches. So you're not supposed to do any of these things because it means you don't understand them, and you're just taking advantage, and you shouldn't eat, here a few years ago, you shouldn't even eat at a Mexican restaurant or, I guess, a Chinese restaurant or anything that was out of your whiteness. And then they have this I don't know what you'd call what they did, but they were all dressed up, and I mean, how many dollars do you think those dresses cost, Melody?
It was just evil. Pure evil.
I thought so too. I thought
evil.
It was just disgusting.
The demon worshippers, you have Katy Perry. She's already claimed that she sold her soul so she could be famous. I mean, she comes from a religious family. Her father's a preacher. That doesn't mean they're religious, but her father's a preacher, pastor. She supposedly sold her soul so she could become famous and wealthy. Madonna had a headdress of, upside down crucifixes, I believe, or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these people are evil. They're disgusting. And yet other people, people buy their music and propel them into these levels of, they're disgusting, despicable people.
Well, I think we agree. We agree on that. And these are the same people that chastised and went after this young girl for her prom dress a week or so ago. She had a prom dress. It was kind of an Asian dress, kind of a kimono style. It was high necked. It was long with the bright floral. I'm sure it was silk or satin, and then it was cut up the side. You've seen those dresses, and it was beautiful. It was a different prom dress, and I mean, they went after her because that was cultural appropriation, and she should not have done that. And they went after her. And so here we have these on the runway in these garbs that were absolutely disgusting. And
I guess it's a good thing I saw a headline where eating fast food is linked to infertility. I guess that's a good thing then.
I don't think so. Oh, we're going to go to Joe in Arkansas. Maybe he can bring us back. Hey, Joe, how are you today?
Still getting by so far, and how are you all?
We're doing good.
Just fantastic.
That's great. Okay, well, I would like to introduce a new phrase into the public discussion here, and that's cultural appreciation. How about that? Like if you like Mexican food, that's not cultural appropriation, that is cultural appreciation. And I do yoga exercises. You know, I tried doing them some years ago and found out that they really made me feel terrific. So I keep on doing them. I'm not trying to become an Indian or Hindu or anything like that, but I sure like the way these yoga exercises make me feel. So I call that cultural appreciation. Another example, there's a whole lot there's a lot of Chinese painters that have taken up painting in the European style, you know, the realistic Western European style, and and they're very good at it, and I would call that cultural appreciation. Of course, there's some American painters and European painters that like Chinese art and have taken up painting in the Chinese style, and I would call that cultural appreciation. So I say let's turn this around and start calling it cultural appreciation instead of cultural appropriation.
You're absolutely right. You know what? I think when you walk into their restaurants, they kind of like your money. They're not the ones screaming.
They appreciate that part of your culture, yep.
Well, I don't think they're the ones complaining. I don't think the people that this young girl bought this prom dress from, I don't think they're complaining, you know. But, you know, it's, you know, about your yoga. Yoga's a good thing, but, you know, with the yoga, and they have the goat yoga, PETA doesn't like that. PETA went after him for the goat yoga because they shouldn't be using the goats like that.
How are they using the goats?
You just do yoga, I guess, out in the field where the goats are roaming around. It's supposed to be some kind of a Zen moment or something. I don't know. I haven't done it. Just heard
well, that probably gives the goats some interest in their life. You know, I suppose it's kind of dull and boring sometimes out there for the goats. Not much going on out there in the field. So I suppose that gives them something. I suppose that gives them something interesting to look at.
It's goat appreciation.
I got a question I'd like to ask Melody. And that's, I heard a report that Russia is dropping the U.S. dollar for their oil sales. What do you know about that?
Well, you know, you have a lot of these countries that are making arrangements and so forth, and you know, I think a lot of them they're using other currencies. Are they dropping 100? Are they dropping it 100%? Probably not. But they're certainly finding other ways to do so. I mean, and particularly Iran was a country too, not so long ago, where they decided during the Great Recession that they were going to sell their oil in euros instead of the dollar. So you always have to question yourself, what is the big beef against Iran? Is it that? We've seen it with Iraq. We saw it with Gaddafi, Libya. They all wanted to sell their oil in something other than U.S. dollars, and it creates a problem. And so, yes, Russia, I can't see it.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188. The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on Internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the Internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening. Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning. I'm just going to hit lightly on this. This is one that I actually thought we would start out with, but we didn't. But this is a school in New Jersey, and apparently there was a scandal in the cheerleaders. It says the cheerleading scandal rocking a New Jersey high school will really make your blood boil. That is, if you're against the trophy culture taking over America. Now, it says apparently everyone attending Hanover Park High School can now join the cheerleading squad, regardless of their talent or skill. You no longer have to try out for these things, because one girl tried out and didn't make it, and so she went after them. Ruined it for everybody. This new rule has some parents and many cheerleaders fuming mad, and rightfully so. One student that didn't make the team ruined it for everyone else that did. And the competition is healthy. The competition is healthy. Failure is healthy, and that's how you learn and grow. Of course, you know the liberals don't like to do that. Then this effort to make everyone a winner is creating weaklings who won't be prepared for the real world. You know, you have to. Where are they going to stop it? You have to compete in music. You have to compete in sports. You compete in cheerleading. You compete on debate teams. You compete on everything. But they don't think anybody should ever lose. And so now, because they don't want to fight this, I guess, they can, I always thought that the cheerleading squad, but the pep squad was everybody who couldn't make the cheerleading squad, so they're up there on the pep squad with their pom-poms or whatever they're doing up there in the pep squad. It's just gone to ridiculous. You have to try out. You have to be able to do certain things to be a cheerleader or to be a soloist. You have to try out to be a soloist. And when they have the plays in the school, you try out to be the head or whatever part you're trying out for. So if somebody didn't make it, what are they going to do? Is everybody going to be the leading role? Is everybody going to be the supporting role? What are they going to do? When does it stop? When do these people learn to grow up? It's just absolutely ridiculous.
It really is. But they've been trying to make everyone all equal for a very long time. I mean, there's no difference. And, sometimes, it doesn't matter if you're, you can go to the gender. Well, you're not a girl, you're not a boy. You get to decide that on your own. We're all equal. We all live in this happy little world where, so you don't have to compete anymore. You don't have to compete anymore. You're just as good as everybody else, and you don't have to work hard to gain anything. And it's because the future there probably won't be a whole lot to work hard for.
It is absolutely nuts. Now, I was a cheerleader in my school, but it was a small school. Had I stayed in Kansas City and tried out, which I would have never done because I knew I couldn't make it, I wouldn't have tried out for the cheerleading squad because there were certain things I could not do. I didn't have any training or any I didn't take any classes on acrobats or any of that kind of thing, or dance. But, in the small school, you just had to kind of be enthusiastic. I could do a few things, but they voted on you on other things. I mean, it wasn't the same thing. But you don't want somebody that's out there that's going to be maybe trying to do stuff that they're going to get hurt. Soloist, you have to try out to be a soloist in plays or in school. And if you, it's absolutely ridiculous. So everybody makes the track team, and the track team can't no longer, when you compete, you don't keep score. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. And we're raising a whole bunch of kids that they don't know how to cope. That's why they have to have crying rooms, crying closets in the universities, because they don't know how to cope. Real quickly, we have Tom in Michigan. Tom, we are just about out of time. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I was, thinking with these higher oil prices now, where do you think all this extra cash that like Saudi Arabia is going to be making is going to be going? And I'm thinking it's going to be going into physical gold, unless they've already been buying, and it's, buy on the rumor, sell on the news. But just kind of my thoughts is the physical market is the only thing that keeps the gold market. Well, silver's following gold as far as I can tell, but the real rich people, they want gold because it doesn't take up so much space. And just wondering what you thought about that, if you talked about that on Financial Survival.
Yeah, we do, and there is a difference. You purchase gold and silver. Both will preserve your purchasing power. But you're right. If you have large sums of money, it's very difficult to put it all into silver, because it's just not logical. You want to put your paper dollars into real money. Both are real money, but gold is the true money. Silver right now is viewed more as an industrial metal, and during times of recessions, depressions, it'll convert back to a monetary metal, which is important. So each has a fundamental that since the Great Recession, and since, we touched on the 2000 and then it dropped, and, little interest in gold and so forth, the sensationalism and the push to buy gold and silver, buy silver because COMEX can't deliver the ratio and so forth. That's fine for some folks, but they eliminate, a lot of these analysts and so forth eliminate the true fundamentals of why you buy gold and silver.
Last time I looked at, and I haven't looked lately, but silver was about 80 to 1 on gold, and I think at one point it was around 60 when they were talking about the COMEX not being able to deliver. Is that about right? Or
you're about right, correct. But again, then we go back to the person who has large sums of money, and you have your IRA accounts, you have your 401s, you have your retirement plans, your pension plans. How are you going to put all that into silver? Silver comes volatility. Silver is much more volatile than gold. And again, you want to take your paper dollars and convert them into real money, which is gold. So again, it comes back to the suitability of each person out there. And I have seen a lot of trades, and that's just exactly what they are. You have a lot of these analysts that all they want to do is trade you. They lure people in with the promotion of and silver's going to do great. People say, well, you're negative against silver. No, I'm not. Silver's going to do great. But understand silver. Understand the market, and sometimes it's not important because it's boring. People don't want to know the truth. It's back to the truth.
I don't think it's really even been much higher than it is right now. If it's around over 80, I think it's about as bad as it gets, isn't it? Or I don't know. You watch it closer than me.
They use the ratio to trade. Gold and silver is not meant to trade. If you want to trade, you trade in paper. And that's what these guys do. They lure you in with and a lot of people buy silver, and that's good because it's better that they have something than nothing. But the big money that they get from luring the people in, I'll guarantee you, it goes into paper. They use the fundamentals, they use the fear, they use the attempts of the greed, and I'm just telling you what goes on. They trade, and that's why you use ratios. It's for trading. And what we want to do is preserve. And we used to do ratio trading with physical gold but it happens rarely. And silver, only when the trades are really good and depending on what people already own, should apply the ratio and do any types of trading. And again, it goes back to the suitability of each person. What do you already have? What's going to happen in the future? What are your trading points? What prices are you going to look for? When silver was hitting close to 50, I told my big silver buyers they should trade a third and put it into gold. But you know what? There was reports that silver was going to 100, silver was going to go to 150, and they always thought it was going higher, and then look what happened to silver. And they would have been far better off to trade silver at that time and get into gold.
And you need to call Melody. You need to call Melody at 1-800-375-4188. That's 1-800-375-4188. We're out of time for today.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. Good conversation. We appreciate all of you, and we will be back tomorrow with Open Mic Friday.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn, the Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today, so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.